Hey everybody, my name is Max, and I want to make this video today to talk about this strategy that I've used with a lot of marketers in the past that were, just either getting started with inbound marketing, or maybe they were, starting a new inbound marketing kind of campaign or way forward for a company that kind of has a mess of a marketing mix, and they just wanted to kind of hit the reset button. The approach that I'm going to tell you about today is kind of what I've called over time the back, front, middle approach to inbound marketing. Okay, back, front, middle refers to like the three different like basic things that you're doing as an inbound marketer in order to drive leads and get them to sales. Okay, so I'll start by explaining like the front and just give you kind of the gist of it. The front, all that's about is creating content that people are actually looking for, hopefully getting them to your website and building enough trust with them where they want to fill out a form and give you their information. Okay. The middle would be taking those folks who's given you their information and nurturing them through either ads, email, social, whatever means necessary to get them to actually want to talk to sales. All right, that's the middle. The back would actually be what sort of, form someone fills out or what sort of offer that you offer to actually kickstart that human relationship with a salesperson at your business and to get them to basically raise your hand and say, yeah, I want to talk to sales. Okay, so that's the back, middle, and the front. Okay, now what I recommend that you do is you approach things from the back first. Okay, and here's why. If you don't have a compelling offer that gets people in touch with your sales team, not a lot of people are going to want to get in touch with your sales team unless you have a really good product and you have really good word of mouth, which maybe you do, maybe you don't. Okay, where most marketers were starting off when I would work with them is that they would have a very simple contact us page on their site. Let me be clear. Contact us pages are terrible, okay? Because you're not offering anything specific, right? You're just saying, give us your information and tell us how we can help you and we'll get back to you, right? And people don't really like doing that, okay? Or you have something that's like way too aggressive, like talk to sales or request a quote. And is that great for people who are absolutely ready to buy at that moment? Yeah, sure. Should you get rid of that? No, right? Because you're always going to have people that are like that. But you're missing out on a lot of people who aren't quite ready to take that aggressive sales step yet, but maybe do want to talk to a human being and have a valuable conversation. So the first thing that I recommend you do is take your contact us page and delete it and throw it away. All right. And what I want you to replace that with is some sort of valuable conversational offer. Okay. With someone on your sales team, obviously. But you advertise it in a way and you actually present this conversations in a way where when someone requests it, they know that they're not just talking to a salesperson to buy something. They know they're going to walk away with some sort of value, even if they don't buy your product. Okay. So think of offering some sort of consultation or some sort of evaluation or some sort of assessment, right? Something where they can actually speak with a human, get them to understand your problem, give you some tips on like fixing it. So even if you don't buy, there's still value in it, right? And it's also like a lot more compelling when you can offer that, right? So I'd highly recommend setting something like that up first. Now, that's for two reasons. One, more people are going to want to, take part in that offer because there's a lot more people that, aren't necessarily ready to buy yet, but like still want to talk to a human than there are people who are just looking to purchase something. On top of that too, there's probably already some people coming to your website. And, just by having that better offer there that's easier to find and clearly valuable, you might just get that many more people actually wanting to talk to a human being at your company, which is great. That's a win-win, right? But the other thing is that it sets you up for success for when you start to get a lot more leads and start nurturing them towards this really great end zone that you've created, okay? Versus doing all this crazy email nurturing to eventually tell them to go to a contact us page and just give you their information blindly, which is kind of silly, all right? So step one, start with the back and come up with a really, really good bottom of the funnel. I don't really want to say funnel anymore. A really good way that someone can raise their hand and say, yes, I'd like to speak with a human. And I know that conversation is going to be valuable. All right. And if you're not sure what to come up with, just talk to your sales team. I'm sure if you ask like, hey, what's the first conversation you have with a prospect? They're not just going to say, I tell them what we sell, I tell them how much it costs, and I ask them if they want to buy it. They don't do that anymore, all right? They generally have a conversation about what those people's biggest challenges are. They try to give them some tips and tricks and advice on how they can solve those challenges, and then they start to position why your company would be a good partner to help them do that, right? There's still value in that conversation, but the problem is when you just have a contact us page, you're not advertising the fact that that's the conversation that you're going to have. If they know that's the conversation that they're going to have, they're going to be that much more likely to request something like that when they know there's value behind it without having to promise to purchase something. Okay? So again, step one, deal with the back, come up with a really good, compelling offer that gets people in touch with human beings at your company and kickstarts that sales process. All right. And then obviously make sure there's something in the background, whether it's through some sort of automation or some sort of workflow even, that makes sure those sales reps are getting those leads in a timely fashion. Okay. And that all the information's getting passed on. So when you start to get a whole lot more leads, you already have a clean process in place, and that's not going to be an issue. Okay. You're setting yourself up to scale this whole strategy up. Okay. So keep that in mind. So that's the back. That's what you're attacking first. Then you want to start tackling the front. And this is probably the longest, hardest process, okay? Because what you're doing in the front, okay, or what a lot of people will refer to as the top of the funnel, all right, is you are creating content. Now, content is often the 800-pound gorilla in the room that marketers don't want to talk about, especially if they're not used to building content yet, all right? What I'll tell you is that it's not as hard as it sounds, okay? People tend to overthink it and overcomplicate it, all right? You can create really good and valuable content by using a very simple formula. Build buyer personas, which are fictional representations of your ideal customers. And I know that sounds like a daunting task, but all you got to do is think about who it is that you're selling to and come to some educated speculations about what their goals and challenges are. You don't have to go pay a marketing research firm to go research everything that you'd ever want to know about your ideal customer. That is the best way to get analysis paralysis and the best way to burn a lot of money. All you need to do is say hey, who does our product solve for? What does their day-to-day look like most likely? And what do we think are some educated guesses or educated speculation? Or maybe, hey, we talk to the sales team even who talks to these customers all the time. What are goals that they're looking to achieve and challenges that are getting in the way? So why do you want to focus on goals and challenges? Well, every single time someone searches for something on Google, they have some sort of goal or some sort of challenge that they're looking to overcome. All right. They want to achieve that goal, but the challenge is getting in the way. All right. So again, if you create content that helps people get closer to achieving that goal or overcoming that challenge, that's what people are looking for in the first place. When we think about attract in the inbound methodology, all that literally means is create content that people are actually looking for. And let me be super clear here. People are looking for ways to achieve their goals and solve challenges that they have, no matter how macro or micro they are. Cool. I'm going to stop the crazy zoom in here. All right. But I had to make that point clear because most marketers overcomplicate it and overthink it. You just need to focus on that. That's what people are searching for. Now, the other reason you need to focus on solving for specific goals and challenges is that, let's forget, doing all these things that you need to do to get people to find your content. Okay. Let's just pretend people magically found your content. Okay. If they're taking the time to digest that content, to consume that content, to read that blog post, read that ebook, watch that video, listen to that podcast, the format's not important. It's the content and the substance that's important. When they're consuming that content and they've spent time to do it, okay, you're taking precious time away from them. And when they get to the end of that content, again, whether they read it, watch it, or listen to it, if you're promising that you're going to help them overcome some sort of challenge or reach some sort of goal, and your content doesn't do that, you build zero trust. And that's the worst thing that you can do as a marketer. Okay. You need to make sure your content continues to build trust with people. And when you help them get closer to achieving a goal or solving for a certain challenge without getting them to pay for anything, you're injecting value before you extract it. And that's what builds trust. Okay. So sorry I went on a little content rant there. But that's just, you can't overthink it, and you have to just get back to basics, especially if you're just starting with this whole content thing, okay? Now, the reason I want you to focus on the content second, after you've already built this compelling offer that gets people in touch with sales, is for two reasons. One, over time, you are going to start to build up a lot more traffic to your site, because if you're doing this the right way, creating content that solves for goals and challenges, you're going to eventually start to get more traffic to your site because you're creating what people are actually looking for. All right. Just the additional eyeballs on your site alone means there's probably going to be more people that go and fill out that bottom, of the funnel, or that sales sort of handoff, whatever you want to call it, that compelling offer, just because they read some of your content and you convince them, or you build enough trust with them where they're like, yeah, that was super helpful, and it looks like you have something that I could purchase that helps me solve my problem. So yeah, I will go talk to your salesperson, even though I just read like one blog post or watched one video or whatever it is, right? But again, just that much more people on your website, more people are going to jump to that bottom of the funnel thing that you don't really have to worry about nurturing or anything like that. So that's the first reason. The second reason is that you can't really do any effective nurturing of these leads in the middle if you don't have a higher sample size to experiment with, okay? If you're not gathering a larger number of leads in the front, or the top of the funnel, as a lot of you call it, which is totally normal. I know it's what we've been saying for a long time, not trying to dog you on it. But when you start to build up a lot more leads, you have more leads to experiment with, to see what sort of nurturing works and what sort of nurturing does not work. That process goes way slower if you're just trying to nurture people right out of the gate and you don't have a larger sample size. You're not going to figure out what's working fast enough, okay? The best thing that you can do when you're first getting started with inbound, okay, after that compelling offer, is really focus on that content. And when you've really nailed down the content thing and you have more leads to experiment with, that's when you should focus on the nurturing in the middle, okay? Now, hopefully, once you get this whole machine together, and again, it's going to take time. This is not going to happen overnight. I'd be lying to you if I said that this was like an overnight success marketing strategy that you can have, all right? When you put all these things together, that compelling offer that you have to get people to, a lot of great content that's getting more people onto your site and building trust with them, and nurturing that works, that's inbound marketing, all right? Now, I know this has been hyper simplified, and maybe we dove into a couple things a little bit deeper than others, but like, these are the things that I find that when marketers just focus on doing them in a very simple way, they see a lot of success. All right. I hope that was helpful to someone out there, right? This back, front, middle approach. If you have any comments on it, I'd love to hear it below. If you have like a different way of approaching it too, I'm all ears. I'd love to hear it. But if you have any questions, feel free to post them below. I'll do my best to answer them. But I hope this simplified strategy brings some sort of value to, you trying to figure out how to tackle this whole inbound marketing thing if you're first getting started, or you have a mess to clean up and you want to hit the reset button. All right. It's worked for a lot of people I've worked with in the past. It kind of always works for me when I'm kind of planning out a strategy and kind of evaluating what a business is doing. And I hope it works for you. All right. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and maybe I'll see you on the next one.